don't like how my hair looks today. I'll just keep my head sideways the whole time. So it looks like it's got this sweep back.
Looks super cute.
Does it look good?
Uh-huh. Doesn't look... It looks great.
Aside from the showcase, did we do anything this week?
It feels like we did a lot of stuff. Gosh, what do we do? Well, we had showcase rehearsal Saturday.
Yeah. So showcase rehearsal and showcase.
Yeah. I've been cranking on studio stuff. A lot of hours of editing and mainly editing.
I guess that is your main occupation.
Yeah, that's where I spend most of my time. Yeah.
Even before the showcase, you had a recording session.
Oh, yeah, same day as the showcase. I had another recording session with Ipecac, who actually were voted Best New Band of 2022 by Westword.
What? Wow.
Yeah, I asked them about
They're not new, though. Well, I guess bands rise to a level.
I guess
okay, so it's not
new
like
in the sense that...
Right, newly known. Okay.
Newly known, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So they were... and apparently they had no idea...
Really? Huh.
They like, literally saw it on social media, like...
Wow.
Like I did.
Imagine, like, waking up to see that.
Yeah, that's pretty
cool.
Yeah. So they got, Best New Band of 2022. Although, 2022 over? It seems like early in 2022. Like, somebody might really come out with it.
Someone else might come out and be the better first Best New Band of 2022.
I'm just screwing around.
Yeah.
No, so that was awesome. But, yeah, we did a session with them. They wanted to change one lyric, which it was a great change. It was one of those things where it was like, well, that's 25% better. Like, that's a way better line.
So they had the song all recorded and they just wanted to change a lyric?
Yes, and redo the guitar solos. But on as far as the vocal part, they just wanted to change one line to change the lyric.
Were you able to punch just one line?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I always find it really hard to punch on different days. Like, my voice is never the same day to day.
It helps a lot using the SM7.
Okay.
That thing is very... It's not that it's not sensitive...
Yeah, it's sensitive.
But for one thing, it's very malleable to EQ. So it'll be like, definitely you sound different today, but more than other microphones, I can... I can more effectively even it out.
That's really interesting.
But yeah, it's a huge pain. And that happens all the time. Like
that a singer wants to punch one line?
All the time. I just
come in and fix that one thing? And you're like, you need to sing the whole song again because your voice isn't going to be the same.
And at that point, once I've produced through a vocal, I'm like, no, I would rather just I'll spend 30 minutes or an hour EQing that one line to fit in with the song because I don't want to deal with you singing the whole song again.
And then the edits that go on after that.
And then the edits that go on after that, and then I got to retune everything, and then there'll be some other line that you didn't like, and can't we use that one line from the first time we did it? And like, I've been through it. So I've learned my lesson just to just deal with it. Boy, it's rare that doesn't happen.
It's rare that a singer doesn't want to come in and fix a line after you've finished
Pretty
recording.
Rare. Oftentimes I can fix it with like a different comp or I'll find a different comp and I'll just mercilessly tune it or do something, whatever, and then talk them out of retracking. But almost always there's like, I like everything but this one thing I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
I get. But... I think it's easy for them to think that they just need to come in and sing that line again, and you just pop it back in, and boom, 5 minutes.
Yeah, that seems to be what most people think about everything
you do.
Yeah. Here's 30 tracks of vocals, so you get that back to me in 15 minutes, right? Like I sang it, so just print, press print. Just press print, yeah. Yeah, I know.
The amount of work you do on vocals really blows my mind.
Yeah, it's me too. Yeah, I need to stop doing it. Gosh, so yeah, that's been my life is editing, lots of mouth sounds. That's another thing I spend tons of time on.
You came home tonight complaining about mouth sounds.
Yeah, clicky, gross. Yeah, wet. And sometimes it's like right in the middle of a word. It's like...
Oh, yeah.
And often when you're going from... I know part of it is going into W's. Does it a lot. I don't know that it's... Maybe there's a consonant before that, but often somehow transitioning into a W will often make, in the middle of the word, it's a seamless vocal take. But just on one of those transitions, they'll make like a... And there's like...
And it's a gross sound, and we don't want that. But what do you even do if it's in the middle of a word?
There's 3 or 4 different ways to deal with it. And you just have to try all of them. Like sometimes you can try finding the exact place that it happened and ducking it down with automation so that at least the click is quieter and maybe it can happen quick enough that you don't hear it.
Ducking out the actual volume?
The actual volume.
Wow.
Ducking that down.
Like 10 milliseconds of...
Well, that EP we did... Whenever it was a while ago, that was 4 or 5 covers with a female singer, very quiet female singer.
Yeah.
There were probably 100 duck down edits in each song.
Oh my gosh.
To deal with all the lip smacking, constant. Which especially when people are singing that,
very low volume.
I don't know why sap. It's like the sound that it sounds like to me, but like. Their lips are just gonna the lip smacking is gonna be, it's all over the place. It's really loud. But yeah, so you do that, or like there's some like editing, like audio repair software that'll work 1 and 4 times, and maybe you can EQ it out, or you go looking for another take because yes, that's the best take, but there's a super loud mouth click on one of the. And the problem is when you master it and turn it up. That mouth click just gets loud with everything else, Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of my week. Like between Jonathan's record and the other 3 or 4 things I'm working on, like I'd say half my week has been dealing with mouth sounds.
Fun.
Awesome.
The glamorous life of musicians.
Yeah. So much fun. How about you? So this was another all you on bass showcase.
Yes. Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, actually.
Well, that's
what?
all. That's as good as I felt about playing guitar. So you're doing fine.
I mean, I'm always a little not hard on myself, but I mean, I always want to just keep growing and being the best I possibly can be. And so, and I also want to serve the students the best I can possibly serve them. So every person has maybe 1 song, maybe 2, maybe as many as 3, but it's not a long time on stage. And so I want to play every note perfectly, and I want it to all feel good, but it's just a lot, 35 songs in 2 rehearsals and then a show. And I did some thinking afterwards about how my brain was working during the show, which I talked to you about, because I felt really solid on everything in practice at home, and then almost as solid during rehearsal, and then on stage where you get more nervous and it's the one and only time, my brain did not work the same, and so I thought through ways that I needed to start thinking differently and also start preparing differently. I mean, I'd mentioned it a little bit in the last podcast where I needed to write more groove notes, and I need to write more, how this song starts notes and things like that, maybe stuff like that. But I realized that what I have when I practice and in rehearsal that I don't have on stage is I instantly see the pattern I'm going to play. But when my brain is in a little bit of nervous mode, I don't instantly see that pattern. I see my chart and I see a D flat and I'm like, I know where a D flat is, and I see an A flat. I'm like, I know where an A flat is, but I'm not seeing the pattern. I'm not seeing that the D flat to the A flat, that's just right below it, So that's a way that I need to make that connection somehow. And I think it's partly in training my brain. It's not in practicing more, it's in thinking differently.
Yeah, and yeah, there's definitely some red light fever where stuff goes great in rehearsal, but then you're on the stage and it's the one shot this singer has of doing the song, and you're like, oh no, like so much stress, and a lot of stuff just goes right out of your head where you're like,
I mean, it's funny. Like I just sometimes I have trouble bringing up the groove of it. Like if I can hear the song in my head,
that's what
hugely. Almost there, but the thing is with the nerves and having just played a song and thinking like which of these two basses am I playing, the 5-string or the 4-string? Are we skipping this song because the person didn't show up? Is the next person ready to go? Like
that's what I've said. Switching guitars is stressful. Like when you add in switching up guitars for different stuff, like that starts to get like that's another layer of like, oh crap, what guitar am I playing on this song? Or like,
and is it in tune?
Yeah, is it in tune?
So one of the strings on my bass got knocked or something. I don't know, but I was a little. One of my notes, my E string was a little sharp on three's first tune.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fix it in post.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think it ruined it, but it never felt like it was. Did you notice?
I noticed something wasn't right, and I was trying to figure it out the whole time. And I was playing slide on that one. Oh. So I was also like, why isn't this
so sorry.
Like intonating? Like I thought it was me.
I mean, I tried to quickly tune during the song, but I'm playing most of the song.
Most of the song, yeah. I know. There's just a million things that, it's stressful. You're just mile a minute up there. Like, especially that kind of show.
Yeah, and stuff where we just haven't played them together on stage as a band many times. So I learned that like even though I have a chart, like my eyes are not as much help to me on stage as my ears and my feel.
Right.
I need to probably memorize more because I feel the arrangement of the song much better than I read it in the moment. In practice, I can read it just fine. I don't need to feel it. I can just read down the chart. So it's just interesting to like notice how the brain behaves differently under stress. The other thing that... Oh, I went to Jenny's show. That's the other thing I did this week.
Oh my gosh, and that was so awesome because of all the people that were...
Yeah, and sorry, I was in the mid-sentence and I switched over to that because it made me think that... To go back to what I was about to say, another point of pressure I'm putting on myself at these showcases is that I want to work more as a bassist. So I want to show that I am a good bassist and reliable and can read charts and can play 35 songs with 2 rehearsals, In particular, I want Ryan, our drummer, who plays with lots of good people, to know that I can do that. And so I feel like I've got this little, scoreboard in my head of oh, made a mistake there. Oh, didn't end that song on time. Oh, flubbed that note. And I'm like, I want to be perfect. I want to be perfect. Anyway, back to, I went to Jenny Shawhan's music video release party.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Of Don't Tell Me What to Do. And that was fun because Jacob Larson, who started at Performance High when he was 11, and he's 22, 23 now, and probably 23 at this point, he was singing backup. And then Jenny I've worked with her a couple times on her show as far as the set, constructing the set.
And you did right before this, last week, didn't you?
We worked on this particular show. We worked on her album release at the Soiled Dove and some stage performance. Not for this one, but for the previous one. But anyway, so I knew her, of course, and then I knew Ryan Skiles.
Ryan Skiles. We've talked about him. Yeah, great to see him.
So, I went and she did great. She's such a great singer and performer. And her songs are really good. And her band was tight. Mostly a new band.
Yeah, you said it was mostly new band. Guitar player was what was it? Somebody had subbed in it with a day's notice.
Well, she fired the guitarist.
Yeah, but the point
is. So he wasn't. I don't know who it was.
Which actually, Rachel Irvin had to sub in on harmonies with a day's notice for.
Right.
Boy, that was another thing about the showcase was the amount of people getting sick and dropping out.
4 singers drop out for illness, 2 for COVID, 1 for appendicitis, 1 for non-COVID illness.
Oh, yeah.
And then Joe got sick, not COVID, but he lost his voice.
Too sick to
sing. Said, I checked with him today. He said he feels like shit. It's just so, he definitely couldn't have sung yesterday. So Rachel had less than 1 day to prepare backup vocals.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what else happened at the showcase that was of note? We did have that metal song.
Yeah. We had the technical issue on
apparently the mic stopped working.
Face to Face by Seven Dust. I don't know if it was the mic or the cable. I mean, he wound up switching out the mic, so maybe somehow the mic.
Yeah. But apparently multiple people were trying to get the rhythm section's attention.
Yes.
to stop playing the song.
Including me.
I'm so sorry. That's another reason I need to just memorize more. I can't be half on chart, half off, like we talked about last week.
I mean, Ryan was right there with you. He was also like head down in the chart.
Yeah, but I want to be more heads up. So that means basically knowing the song and not having to use the chart except to remind you how it starts and remind you of like a couple breaks or something that are happening.
And that's what we were talking about last week. I knew that song was one that I needed to basically have memorized.
Yeah.
Enough to maybe like look at the chart and go, oh yeah, the chorus is these chords, but I have to basically have it because if anything, if I take my eyes off the chart, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the mic stopped. It was two singers. Yeah. Kind of a weird metal duet.
Yeah.
It's the song Face to Face by Seven Dust, which is a remarkably difficult song. If you weren't the person who wrote it. So one of the singers, just his mic was not working and they were trying to do the trade-off vocal thing and the whole thing and it was just like totally not working and sound guy ran up and tried to fix it and just wasn't able to fix it, and we got about quarter of the way through the song and had to literally stop and just go like, hey, technical issue.
Yeah.
But then those guys did great getting back, it's hard to get into that heavy metal energy and then like, everything stopped and then they got back into it.
And it was great.
Yeah.
And we played better the second time too.
Yeah, I know. And that was one of those stage things too. I won't deny that I was much better the second time, but also I was talking a bunch of trash about wanting to start over anyway to try to like lighten the mood of the situation and like I was yelling at Joe about like, I promise I didn't sabotage that because I wanted another start.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Just kind of trying to keep it positive and light and not like a total disaster. Because that was his... Ian, of course, has played with us a bunch.
It was
but
Joe's first one with
very
us.
First time performing music on stage at all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So for the mic to like stop working on you and
man.
he handled it like an old pro though. Like, no, he was just like, whatever, cool, it's working. Yeah, all right, let's go again.
Cool. We had a number of people have their first time on stage, or at least their first time with a live band showcase with us. There are at least 4 or 5 people at this one. Yeah.
And they all did great. Mm-hmm. Lily showed up with...
I know.
A hole in her side still.
I know. Yeah, so Lillian Plaisance, 11 years old, rocker. She's so talented and so smart. She's working with Justin on learning to produce and record. And she,
monster singer.
Oh my gosh.
Monster.
So confident. I mean, she's been confident since we met her at like 9.
Yeah.
Just this little tiny gymnast on stage.
Who is her teacher?
Currently, Rachel.
It is Rachel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she got appendicitis while they were on vacation in Belize. And her appendix did end up bursting. So she was in the hospital for a few days and could not sing. And she was so sad.
But she still came in the show.
I know.
Unbelievable. I told her if that happened to me, I would stay in bed for a year. I wouldn't get up for nothing.
Yeah.
But also I'm not 12 years old. So, gosh, yeah. Any other,
It was just fun,
The
crowd... the crowds are, and there's always just people who happen to be there who have the best time. Like there was a guy there before the show started, like an hour. He was there at 4:00, just having a beer or something or lunch, and he was asking me what was going on, and I told him it's a music studio showcase, and he fancied himself a bit of a singer, so he thought he would just stay and check it out, and he stayed till the end, and he was like up there. Banging with the rest of them.
That's amazing. Oh, yeah, I saw the guy.
Yeah.
It makes you think, like, I mean, it's got to be an entertaining show. It's...
Yeah.
Although, you know, that one, I would say, was not one of the more difficult showcases, other than style-wise, it was maybe more all over the map than most of them tend to be. Like, we really got pretty far out there on that one. Like, there went from, like, metal, like, full-on modern metal to Casey Musgraves country and some classic rock and some
old blues,
literal old blues, you know, some Neil Young, some
we didn't have any funk.
There was no, you're right, there wasn't in this one.
Well, there was Superstition, but that's
Superstition. Yeah, that's right, we did Superstition. But I mean, yeah, everybody's except that was one of those that, like, how many times have I had to play Superstition and yet still we started the song and I just had, like, brain freeze. Like, it was the first song of the night and we were, like, jumping on stage and kind of like, let's go. And I was just, like, doing something.
What is this song?
What? Although I was telling Ryan, it's, like, one of those songs that you, like, play in several different keys. So a lot of times you're, like, you know. Yeah, so what's coming up for you this week?
We have the Buffalo Rose show.
Buffalo Rose. Yeah, that's right. Patty Nix. I'll be very interested to see how that goes. We went and saw Stone Beat Invasion at Buffalo Rose.
Now we're remembering what we did all week.
Yeah, exactly. Friday night, we went and saw them.
Yeah.
And that was a blast. They were amazing.
Oh my gosh, we kept looking at each other, like going... Because Morgan has really blossomed and come out of her shell.
Morgan Lowe,
you know, not that she was in a shell, but yeah,
a long-time student of yours, and now training to be a teacher in training at Performance High, and she now plays with Stone Beat Invasion, which is a Beatles Rolling Stones tribute, and they're doing a lot of the same venues we do, and you know it was a great crowd, and she was just.
Yeah, her voice was so big.
Up there murdering it.
Yeah.
I forget which one she did solo. It wasn't like even a normal
Helter
female
Skelter?
vocal. Yeah, I think it was Helter Skelter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, really lit the room up. That was kind of an amazing, awesome thing to see. And Bobby, the lead singer, is total rock star.
Yeah, what a job to imitate Mick Jagger. Like, not only vocally, but physically.
Yeah.
I mean,
just that level of energy.
And the kind of the weirdness of the moves.
Right.
You know, which he really pulls off. And then he's so talented. He's the most talented vocalist. Then they did Joe Cocker. Yeah. Sounds like just like Joe Cocker. And then he sounds just like Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Just switches voices. Like he's a what's the name for someone who does voices?
Impressionist?
Yes, he's like an impressionist. Like he's a singing impressionist. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. All while running around a ton.
Yeah.
He was really he pushed through a lot of he really was like keeping the entire room full of people going. Like there were points where it was his energy that was kind of carrying, which is rough. That is exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were great. It was great to see Ian play drums. He's played with us and is playing with us in the future. And sadly, don't know any of those other guys. Just never met them. Yeah, so Buffalo Rose this week. I'm sure you're teaching.
Working on original music.
Working on
covers, but in a different... Actually, I've got a collab, a cover, and original work. So the original stuff, AO stuff, which I'm getting excited about. Again, are those pictures in the... There's gonna be one more. I still need to get one more picture printed, but there's tickets and photos from 3 of our theater shows up there.
Yeah.
So I'm getting excited to make some more music again. So I've got that on my plate. You know, I've been bugging you for Logic projects. And then I've got the collaboration with Chris Cardone and Jacob Warner, which we talked about last week.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
That's on Friday, I think.
Oh, you're tracking it on Friday?
I think so.
Oh, nice.
And I think you're coming over to dinner with everybody.
Oh, okay.
And just to let you know.
Good to know.
Yeah. And, the Synthwave project with Dave Stasny and Doug Bohm. So
Right.
I did the first pass at a cover of Take My Breath Away from
Take
Top Gun.
My Breath Away, right.
We're going to do some Top Gun covers. Synthwave covers of Top Gun.
Dave's so good with those angles.
I know. Because I think there's some kind of re-release coming this summer or something. Like there's going to be some Top Gun thing. And so he's trying to get ahead of that with some...
That's funny.
Some Top Gun covers. So that's what's on my plate this week.
And I will be sitting in front of a computer.
Getting rid of mouth
noises. I got to track a bunch of guitars and basses and stuff too. But yeah, it's a lot of mixing going on. The song that Sri was doing, it's called Tough Guys maybe, by Carolyn something.
Carolyn Jones?
Jones, I think. And we played it in rehearsal and it just wasn't sounding as full as maybe she wanted. And then so I really started like listening to the song, not just listening to like, what would be the main parts to pull out and put together into one guitar part. And I feel like I had like a realization about production because the production on that was so Nashville slick and like banjo and violin, and on some of the hook parts you're like, oh wait, that's like 4 instruments doubling up that hook part. That's not just one thing doing it. It's like the electric guitar's doing it, but also the mandolin's doing it, and also this, and then there's an electric keyboard behind it too, and just like, wow, that's like 50 instruments, but they're just so neatly
and the funny thing
orchestrated.
It sounds like that track is drums, bass, and guitar.
Yeah.
It sounds so, and some claps.
Yeah.
It sounds so sparse.
And then there's so many backup. It just really made me I was like, oh, I see what they did. It was like a weird lesson of being like, oh, like all the parts are just so well written and developed. And even as many background vocals as there are, like gang vocals, that would be 30 tracks of vocals. That wasn't just like a harmony vocal. That was like gang vocals and this and that. But it was also well orchestrated together that it just sort of disappeared, and like all that really you heard on a cursory listen was that lead vocal, which is the ideal thing that you want to do as a production, is just make it seem like, oh, this is like an awesome track, and like mainly I'm focused on the lead vocal. So that was a real lesson this week. I got to track down who produced that. Might have been Reed Shippen, who I was telling you about. Anyway, what about you?
Non-musically, I think I need to get back on intermittent fasting and not have breakfast anymore so often. I made a whole batch of cookies and ate most of them over the last 3 or 4 days. You had like 2. But that's another topic. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm feeling a little tired.
Yeah, we got to this one kind of late.
Yeah.
Still went kind of long though. Well, let's call it.
All right, cool.
Thank you if you are listening or watching.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
And let us know if there's anything that you're curious about that you'd like us to talk about.
Yeah, track us down. We're more than happy to take suggestions, what have you.
Yeah. Cool. See you next week.
Thanks.